No wind is favorable to the man who does not know where he goes. Summarize, if you don't know what you're shooting for in life, if you don't know the life that you want, you'll never get there. And what I want to explain to you in this video is if you're someone who does not have any purpose, or at least you don't know what it is, you don't have any clear direction in life, I want to show you how to find at least some sort, to have some sort of structure in your life. So please get a pen, get a notebook, and get ready to write down, because what we're going to be explaining in this is how to find your purpose. And what I want to emphasize is the crossroads that we're faced with every single day. Every single day, every single choice, from the second you wake up to the second you go to bed, you are faced with choices that are either pushing you towards your new self, or they're keeping you the same. They're keeping you your old self still. So what I want to explain to you is how to, go towards this new self instead of staying the same. Because if you keep on doing the same thing, if you keep on choosing the same options, you'll always stay the same person. You'll always stay the old self rather than becoming the new self. So what is this new self going to look like is what you need to figure out. You need to be the one, and that's why you're going to write it down. You need to be the one to figure out what your new self looks like. Using me as an example, I was going to be someone who reads. So a lot of books. I was somebody who wakes up early. I was somebody who goes on walks in the morning. I was somebody who does what I'm scared to do. So what I want to explain to you is all of these new things that you're doing in life are what, if you could imagine any single person in the entire world, that is your new self. That's the structure you're making, because you're making this person. But every single time you're forced with these crossroads, you now have a structure to look towards. You say, what would the new self be? What is going to make me ensure that I'm going the right way? Because you'll find your purpose once you stop running away from it. Your old self is the one who sleeps in. Your old self is the one who is negative, depressed, anxious. That is your old self. And what we're going to be turning away is away from the old self, away from the decisions you make, away from the choices you take every single day. You're not sleeping in anymore. Your new self wakes up. Because if we're looking at an ideal person that you want to be in the future, hopefully, you don't want to be somebody who sleeps in every day. Hopefully, you don't want to be somebody who is just, being passed around in life, doing things that do not matter every single day. So what you need to figure out is, what does this future self look like? And if you're really trying to be great, you're going to be somebody who either reads, listens to audiobooks, listens to podcasts, listens to videos. That is something you have to start adding to it. And as you walk the path becomes clear. So if you really don't have any sort of passion in life, you do, but if you haven't uncovered it yet, as you begin to walk this path, as you begin to take the steps and courage towards your new self, the path is going to reveal itself. You're going to see, the middle path. That is your passion. You're going to start to see it because now you're taking active steps towards it. And this is why, the Jordan Petersons emphasize cleaning your room, finding structure in your life, doing things that are making you scared, and finding things that if you could change, you would change. Because that's a real honest talk you have to come to. That was a real honest talk I had to come to multiple times in my life. My old self, I would drink. My old self, I was negative all the time. My old self had addictions, bad ones. So what I had to come up to realize is if I could do anything in the world when forming this new self, the addictions, they would have to go. The negativity, it would have to go. The drinking, it would have to go. And obviously this is easier said than done. But as you begin to look at it and you really have that thought process, and you really figure out who you're going to be in life, you have to be honest and say, I'm not as best as I could be right now. I'm not the person I want to be in the future. So what is holding me back? What is keeping me on the same path every single day? What is pulling me away from what I'm really truly here to do? Because you're not on this earth to be negative. You're not on this earth to be depressed or anxious or lazy or waking up in the middle of the day or not eating, not doing any sort of physical exercise. You are not on this earth to do that. But once again, if you do not know which port you're sailing to, nothing's going to favor you in life. Because you can be placed with these opportunities like a new job, a new friends to hang out with. But if you don't have that end goal in mind, you're not going to see the benefit of doing that. And what I've seen the benefit in how the path becomes clear is though I did not know exactly where I was shooting for. When I made this, I had no idea what I was going to do. I had no idea I was going to do any sort of thing like this. I had no idea I was going to even take a liking to this. But I did know success leaves clues. Successful people read books. Successful people wake up early. Successful people does what's hard for them every single day. That is something that you have to do every single day. So I said, though I do not know where I'm going yet, I'm going to trust in God and I'm going to do things that successful people do. And as I began to do that, this came up. The idea of talking, because that was the scariest thing I could think of at the time. That was the scariest thing I've thought of the whole entire time, was being perceived by others, putting myself out there, and trying to get better at something every single day, even though I was deathly afraid of it. And as I began to do that, everything began to channel into that passion. You know, the books channeled into the passion. The doing something hard channeled into the passion. But what you have to see is all of these are taking away from the passion. All of the old self is taking yourself away. So by finding this new path and walking on it, you then start to see the passion. Me doing something hard every single day relates to this because I'm speaking on hard things. I'm trying to convey points to you guys that say, I've been through stuff in my life. You're not the only person to have been through hard things. You're not the only person who have had things happen in your life that you wish didn't happen. So what I'm trying to convey to you is to get a notebook. Figure out who your new self would be. If you could be anybody in the entire world, how would you talk? How would you act? Another good one. How would you dress? How are you going to dress? What kind of people? What kind of friends are you going to hang out with? You see, these are all huge in finding out who you're going to be in the future. What do you do when you wake up? What's your morning routine? What do you do when you go to bed? What kind of, things are you doing? What kind of stuff are you filling your time with every single day? Because which we already know is you cannot be filling it with these. You cannot be continually taking this path. You have to find that new path. Because if you continue to do the same things you've always done, you'll stay the same. And if you continue to do something new, you'll change. You'll become somebody new. So trust in God in this plan. Pray. Ask what that new self is going to look like in your life. And as you begin to walk the path, the new path becomes clear. Your passion begins to make sense because you've seen everything that's channeled in start to make sense. So please write it down and get better.